All right, let's get right into it. On its first anniversary, the Qubitcoin project didn't just pop some champagne. They dropped a bombshell, a huge one. We're talking about a brand new, detailed roadmap for the future. So we're going to break it all down and see exactly what's next for this project.
Right, so this wasn't just about patting themselves on the back for a successful first year. Nope. The Foundation used this moment to signal a massive shift, a brand new phase of development that, honestly, the entire community has been waiting on the edge of their seats for.
And how did they do it? By releasing their clearest, most detailed public roadmap we've ever seen. And look, this isn't some fluffy mission statement. It's a real, concrete, step-by-step plan that shows everyone, from miners to node operators, exactly what's coming down the pike. Total transparency.
So, the whole plan is split into two big phases. First, by the end of 2025, we've got the rollout of something called super dense consensus. Then, hot on its heels in the first quarter of 2026, comes the Planck activation. So let's dig in and figure out what these things actually are.
Okay, phase one. This is all about strengthening the very bedrock of the Qubitcoin network. They're doing this with an upgrade that people have been talking about since day one, super dense consensus.
So, what in the world is that? Well, think of the network right now as, say, a single-lane country road. Superdense consensus is like tearing that up and building a massive, multi-lane superhighway. It's a totally new architecture that lets way more valid work get packed into every single block. The whole system just gets tougher and way more efficient.
And why do we care? Well, the benefits are huge. First off, it actually improves decentralization, which makes the whole network more secure. Second, it slashes something called orphan rates. Now, an orphan rate is basically when two miners find a block at pretty much the same time. Only one can win, so the other block gets orphaned, and all that computing power is just wasted. This upgrade means a lot less of that wasted effort, which is a massive win for miners. And get this, it could even pave the way for totally new kinds of mining hardware to get in on the action.
Now, the way they're rolling this out is really smart and very community-focused. The code's going to drop on GitHub for everyone to poke at. Then there's going to be a ton of testing. They're building in a feedback loop before they even ask people to upgrade. And here's the key. For now, it's a voluntary, backward-compatible upgrade, which should make for a really smooth transition.
All right, on to phase two. This is where it gets really interesting. If phase one was about strengthening the foundation, phase two is about adding a whole new skyscraper on top of it. This is called the Planck leap, and it really is the beginning of a whole new era for Qubitcoin.
So Planck is the code name for the network's very first new flagship task since it went live. You see, this is the moment Qubitcoin starts its big transformation, from a network that does one thing really, really well to a multitask ecosystem that can juggle different kinds of jobs all at once.
And part of this upgrade involves a key technical change under the hood. The network is ditching its custom Kosh algorithm for block headers and moving to the industry standard double SHA. Now, this might sound technical, but it's a change the community has wanted for a long time. It's a big boost for both security and just making everything more standardized.
And they've given us a target to watch for. The big Planck activation is scheduled to happen right around block 80,000. It's a real, tangible milestone that the whole community can track as we get into 2026.
Okay, listen up, because this part is critical. Unlike phase one, the Planck activation is not optional. This is going to trigger the network's first ever mandatory upgrade. It's what's known as a flag day, a hard deadline. If you're running a node and you haven't upgraded by that block, you're going to be left behind on the old incompatible chain. Seriously. This is a huge test of the network's ability to coordinate and move forward together.
So, we've gone through the nuts and bolts of both phases, but let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. What does this all really mean for the project and where it's headed?
This is the heart of it, right here, this strategic shift. Qubitcoin is literally evolving. It's like a factory that was custom built to produce just one thing. Now it's retooling its entire assembly line to become a massive plant that can manufacture all sorts of different things at the same time. That's the leap we're talking about, from a single-task network to a multitask proof-of-work ecosystem.
And you know what? The community reaction has been amazing. This quote from someone in the community just nails it. The clear communication, that voluntary upgrade window, the heads up about the mandatory one, it's all seen as a massive plus, especially when you compare it to the chaotic, messy splits we've seen happen in other projects.
So if you're going to remember three things, remember these. First, we have a clear, transparent timeline that everybody can see and plan for. Second, there's a huge focus on working with the community to make sure these upgrades go off without a hitch. And third, and maybe most importantly, this is a fundamental evolution of what the network is even for.
And all of this leaves us with one final, really fascinating question. You see, this roadmap isn't just about code and upgrades. It's about unlocking brand new potential. So as Qubitcoin transforms into a platform for all kinds of different work, what new problems is it going to be able to solve? What new things can be built on it? That's the next chapter, and it is going to be incredibly exciting to watch unfold.